Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Rundown. This is episode number 23. I know it's been a while, but alas, here we are. Let's get into it. Nothing too crazy in terms of liturgy this week. We do have two feasts coming up. Feast of the Nativity of the Blessed Virgin this Wednesday, Feast of the Exaltation of the Holy Cross this Tuesday, St. John Chrysostom next Monday. So a couple cool things going on. But that's kind of where we're at the moment. Here are my top 25 football teams. We'll have this out every week. I did this in 2019. Didn't do it last year because it was not a normal season. Notre Dame is ranked 8 in my rankings as of now. Presumably they hold off Florida State. If not, I'll adjust that after the fact. In the comments below maybe is where I'll adjust that. But alas, that's how we're looking at the moment. Now, moving Oklahoma down from 2 to 3 after their suboptimal performance against Tulane last weekend. So again, there are my top 25 in the first 5 out. Tropical updates right now. We do have a rainmaker in the Gulf, unlikely to develop. Major Hurricane Larry heading towards Bermuda, likely going to go just to the east of the island, and the cleanup continues with Ida. And then we'll get into our city forecast for Columbus and Norman. A side-by-side comparison with Katrina and Ida as it stands right now. Ida, over $50 billion in damage, 71 deaths. Again, some big numbers there for sure. When Katrina was making landfall, it was weakening. Ida was strengthening, and Ida actually even produced an EF3 tornado in New Jersey with same winds that the eye wall did as Ida made landfall. But again, very comparable storms in terms of strength, not necessarily in terms of damage and human death toll. But again, those are things that will be revealed with time with these storms. In Columbus, we're looking like we're going to be under 80 most of the week, somewhere around 80. We're going to be up to 85 on Tuesday with storms and rain possible Wednesday morning. In Norman, it's just going to be hot like it has been. Nothing really too crazy in the terms of precipitation. It's just going to be hot. Yes, in case you didn't get it, it will be hot. low 90s Monday, mid 90s on Tuesday. We're going to be around 90 on Wednesday, back up into the mid 90s for Thursday. It's going to be pretty cold Thursday morning. We'll be in the low 60s. It'll be nice out. But then we're back into the upper 90s for next weekend. And it's probably going to be near 100 by kickoff to next weekend here in Norman. Let's get to coronavirus video update number 87 on the year. I know it's been a while, but here we are. The daily new cases per capita are about 10 times what they were when I did my last update towards the end of June, just to give a little perspective into that. So that's kind of where we're at the moment as we see, of course, the big fourth wave, as they're calling it here. The daily new deaths per capita also significant. Back when we were, again, in late June, it was around 0.2 deaths per capita in each of the states. Of course, higher in some of the southern states, such as Florida, where it's at 1.6 at the moment. Other states, such as Ohio, Pennsylvania, and much of the Northeast and Midwest of the United States, doing pretty well in terms of daily new deaths at the moment. Current hospitalization rates, again, higher down in the South, 63 in Florida, their highest, or around their highest that they've been. And of course, higher rates in many other states across the United States, as we can see by the trend line on the graphs. Again, all these graphs brought to us by Tomer Berg Coding. As we can see on here, the ICU beds, again, per capita, very high, nearing record highs in Mississippi and Alabama. As we can see there, the highest it's been in Louisiana and in Florida. And again, all those numbers in the South, not ideal at this point in time. Daily vaccinations actually up from where it was in the week that we were talking about. Again, last time I did an update in late June. Again, most of the states were probably around 120 to 150, and now we see states doing much better than that, especially states like Mississippi, which in looking at the other graphs we looked at, we saw Mississippi wasn't doing so hot. It's good to see their vaccination numbers going up there. Again, the people vaccinated per capita very high, around 3/4 of the population in the Northeast and along the coast, as well as within the interior United States, where around half of the population for now fully vaccinated, just under that by maybe a couple percentage points as it stands right now. The risk to the community at the moment is high in every single county, in every single state, in most counties, in most states. We do have a couple substantial risks. One in Oklahoma, there's a few over in New York, and it's a little hard to contrast with the red background in many places. But we see places like Nebraska, the Dakotas, Montana, and even a couple counties in Texas with low transmission rates. Puerto Rico with several substantial moderate transmission rates, along with the high risk rate that is for most of the United States at this point. Taking a look at the vaccinations, again, overall, 92% of those over age 65 have received that first dose. About 82% are fully vaccinated in that class. Over half the population fully vaccinated at this point, and we're about 3/4 of those of adults in the United States having received the first dose. So again, we're making slow but sure progress. Again, we see that first dose to fully vaccinated dose are about 10 percentage points off of one another at this point. So again, in about 2 weeks' time, theoretically, those numbers should begin to match up with one another as more people get vaccinated. So I think this spike has caused a decent increase in vaccinations. And again, CDC forecast infections, as we can see, looks like we're going to level it off here. But again, the cone of uncertainty that we talk about, the cone is actually much better at this than it is tropical cyclones. It's much more representative of the damage. That's beside the point. But again, definitely a good thing here right now. In the United States, we're now over 40 million total cases since the beginning of the pandemic. California is over 2 million current cases. Several other states really not doing too hot. New York is about the same as where it was at in late June. All the other states have increased since then. Some have decreased, but all the others on that top 10 have decreased. Worldwide cases, again, we've had around 200 million recoveries so far, but we're also nearing that 5 million death mark at the moment. So that's, of course, not good. Brazil and India have actually decreased. Again, remember, those two countries had the variants, some not necessarily the Delta variant, but had some of the variants first. So that might be sort of the reason why they're declining in relative to late June than now. Again, remember, normally I try to compare week to week, not late June to early September, but alas, that's kind of where we're at this point in time. Again, no real news in the rundown this week, but of course the abortion law in Texas that was passed. I'll have a link in the description down below to my article on the recent Texas law that was enacted, and the Supreme Court refused the stay on it. Again, that doesn't mean that litigation is over. In fact, litigation is still ongoing on that. So it's not set in stone that this will remain the law in the state of Texas, but for now it is, and we thank God for that every single day. That's all for now. Chris, 16 Weather, Catholic Video.